It's amazing that after 80 years, you and your crews find a way to keep it running. I mean, when you really think about it, um, yeah, it's
They're
amazing.
they're pretty
Yeah.
talented.
Mm.
I've met a lot of farmers in my day. I had an uncle that was a farmer. I grew up on a farm in Massachusetts, and he was really talented. He could do anything with baling wire and duct tape, and our crews are pretty much the same way. They're very innovative.
Hi, and welcome to Illinois Corn TV. Today I'm talking with Tom Heinold, Chief of the Operations Division for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Rock Island District. Tom, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's jump right in to some really important questions so we can understand who you are and what you do. As the Chief of Operations for the Rock Island District, you oversee one of the nation's oldest inland navigation systems. Can you walk us through why maintaining and modernizing locks and dams is really important and critical for Illinois agriculture?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, it is old. It was built largely in the 1930s and 1940s. So, do the math. With a 50-year anticipated design life, we're way beyond that. But the real reason that it's important to maintain this old infrastructure is primarily for agriculture. There are a lot of things that move on the river. There are aggregates and petroleum products and any number of other things. But most of what moves on the river here in the upper Midwest is ag products, corn, soybean, uh, crush, everything under the sun that can be moved in bulk moves most efficiently on the river. And the reason that we prosper as a nation, honestly, is that we have the world's best agricultural ground with an ideal transportation system running right through the middle of it. One of the backbones of our economy here. In fact, I tell my folks out on the locks that they sustained us through this COVID pandemic because, they never rested. We never went home and hid in the basement. The farmers never went home and hid in the basement. They planted, the crops grew, they were out there harvesting through that whole thing while small businesses were closing left and right. So this is a very important part of our economy and a great way to transport bulk goods like corn and soybeans. Uh, it's less than $1 per ton mile to transport by barge. And so let's see, if we had to, something like 60% of what we grow here in the upper Midwest goes down to international markets through the port of New Orleans, right down the rip, Mississippi. And if you if you do the math, I think it's roughly the tonnage that goes right through here in Lock and Dam 15 in Rock Island, Illinois, about 15 million tons every year, would cost about $15 billion to ship by barge. If you tried that by rail, it'd be more than twice that. And if you tried to do that by truck, it'd be $75 billion, 5 times that cost. And of course, that cost would come right back to the farmers and get passed right back on to every consumer in America. So maintaining this system is absolutely crucial to our economy.
I I agree, and I hear from our farmers that they agree too. I love the nod that you gave to farmers really understanding what it is to work really long hours, and your crew and the river system, never stopping work either. What does it take behind the scenes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to keep this system really running smoothly?
So each crew at a lock is only 13 men strong. And we do have women too, so hats off to them. But basically, it's 13 people. It's a lock master, an assistant lock master, a mechanic that also doubles as an electrician, and then 10 people that run 2 men per shift. Like you said, 24/7, 365. If a tow with grain on it shows up at 2 o'clock on New Year's morning, it's getting locked through without delay. Those shippers and carriers, a barge company pushing 15 barges with a large line boat, they're burning somewhere in the order of maybe $20,000 a day in labor and food and fuel and maintenance for all of that. And when they show up at a lock, they expect to go through. We also have crews, dedicated crews. We have floating plant, crane operators, welders, machinists, electricians, mechanics, deckhands, towboat pilots, crane operator, and every discipline under the sun that it takes to maintain the system, and they're constantly at it. Whether it's adjusting anchor bars and miter gates, repairing the occasional towboat accident. They do happen. It's not very often, but they do happen. And just repairing things that have rusted through after 80 years of being dumped in the water. Steel and water just don't play well after 80 years. The infrastructure is definitely aging, but we've got the personnel to do it. And then beyond that, if it's a project that we can't handle in-house with my own forces, we do have a design team here that can put together a set of plans and specifications and put it out for bid if we need a large contractor involved to fix something really big.
Rivers really are the fourth R. We're talking about roads, rails, runways, rivers. And we know that there's a lot of challenges. Like, we know they're really important, but there's also some really big challenges getting federal funding, trying to update and fix things. Can we talk about some of those challenges, like, or how we might address them?
Well, sure. One of them, obviously, is education. Our farmers do engage. We have navigation lobbyists like Waterways Council and American Waterway Operators, and of course, farm bureaus, corn growers, soybean associations are all engaged in Washington with their farmers, or with their congressmen on Capitol Hill, rather. Uh, but the general public isn't typically writing their congressmen about funding for locks and dams or dredging on the upper Mississippi River. It is important, critically important, but very often our industry is very much out of sight, out of mind. People drive on roads and they hit potholes, they see bridges, they fly in and out of airports, they wait for trains or driving along roads they're really good advocates for all of those other transportation systems. Honestly, we're very much taken for granted as an inland navigation system. So that's one thing. It's kind of funny. The Army Corps of Engineers has the word Army in its name, but we don't receive any defense funding. And our navigation system out there looks like a transportation system, and it is, but we don't get any funding from the Department of Transportation either. The funding we get for this system is actually energy and water appropriations through Washington, and those bills have been honestly shrinking over the years. Obviously, our senators and representatives on Capitol Hill have a really hard job to do. There isn't a lot of funding to go around. There are a million different things to fund, and I'm only one of them. So I gotta hand it to them. They have really, really hard jobs to allocate and prioritize funding for defense and transportation and everything else. And hopefully maybe even Social Security is there when I retire. Who knows? All right. But
And when I retire.
yeah, all of us. I'm not necessarily depending on that because I'm not sure what they're going to do with it between now and the time I go. But yeah, the funding is not abundant.
Thank you so much for this really important conversation, but now it's time to be corny. So, Tom, who's offering the joke? Is it you or I?
I'll go for one.
Okay.
Good faith. So, you know very well that transporting bulk goods on the river is the way to go. It's the most cost-effective, environmentally friendly way and safest way to get goods up and down the river. One thing that doesn't necessarily ship in bulk, though, is cheese. We don't see a lot of cheese on the river, right?
Right.
Did you know, though, that the Trump administration is going to ban the shredded cheese? Like, you get these bags of cheese, he's going to go with everything. All cheese is going to have to be sold in blocks from pretty soon in the future. There won't be any bags of shredded cheese that you can just sprinkle on your spaghetti. You know why that is?
Why? I'm scared to
He,
ask.
he wants to make America great again.
Ah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I would really miss those bags of grated cheese. I'm so glad that this is a
I
dad
would
joke.
too. I love them. So no, that's not true. I'm looking forward to grated cheese on my spaghetti tonight.
Well, Tom, this has been really delightful. Thank you so much for the conversation and for the partnership and the opportunity to make more people aware of how vital our river infrastructure is. So thank you so much for your work and for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Lindsay. Great to talk to you.
You too.